man, woman, and child needs a good, solid foundation. But what constitutes education? There's been a lot of controversy in this topic. Some would say that public school education is better, is the best form rather of education, because it allows for an equal opportunity for all students to either pass or fail. Some would say that a private school situation is better because there's a more personal connection between student and teacher. Others still would say that a homeschool education is the better form because it is a personal one-on-one experience, learning and teaching for the parent and student, child. While I do agree that homeschooling is a very good form of education, it is not for everyone. I would just like to point out a few things that make homeschooling a very good form of education. These three things are to refute some myths about education, to show exactly what makes homeschooling a good form of education, and to show what homeschooling has meant for me personally in my life. There are many myths about homeschooling that are simply not true. The first myth is that parents should have a teaching background prior to teaching their students or children. This is not the case. As Lisa Rivera mentions in the homeschooling option, there is a distinction between having certification on the one hand and being capable and competent on the other. Teachers and as parents often learn how to teach their kids based on what they have taught them through the homeschooling process. Myth number two is that homeschoolers do not have friends. This is simply not true. Homeschoolers have friends that are both homeschoolers themselves and other private and public schools. A diverse range of friendships and relationships that occur in the early development of the child. Myth number three is that homeschoolers are not going to get a good education. This is a major myth and one that I would like to elaborate on a little bit. Everybody and teacher have different forms of teaching and learning, whether it be visual, audio, or more hands-on approach. As Andrea D. Clements mentions in her book Homeschooling, a research-based how-to manual, the issue comes when trying to address these different forms of learning. Homeschooling, I feel, is one of the better options for addressing this topic, or issue, if you will. Myth number four is that homeschoolers are not prepared for everyday life. This is not true at all. I'm, as you know, a team leader at Chick-fil-A, and we have hired many people in recent years. Some of them have been homeschoolers, and honestly, they are some of the best employees we've had. Not to say that the private or public schoolers aren't good, but the homeschoolers are honestly no different than the public schoolers that we do have. The last myth I would like to address is that homeschoolers are socially awkward. Now, this does ring some truth in that I am a little weird, I will admit, but it's not the case across the entire spectrum of homeschoolers. I mean, just as you would find in any public or private school situation, you have homeschoolers who are a little weird, but you also have homeschoolers who are bright and just fun to be around, honestly. Secondly, I would like to discuss how homeschooling may be one of the, if not the most, beneficial form of education. Homeschooling allows for a more personal one-on-one experience between student and teacher, which is, of course, the child and parent. It allows them to both learn and teach from one another. Homeschooling can create a more personal relationship between the student and the parent. It allows, as I said, a one-on-one connection with each other that you wouldn't see often, whereas the parent might be at work while the student is at school. It can create a more concrete respect for others. As Raymond and Dorothy mentioned, children who spend more of their elective time with age mates than with their parents and other family adults have distorted views of parents, peers, and other adults. When you are constantly being fed what may be lies from your peers rather than true respect by your parents and other adults, this can often lead to these distorted views. I do not want to say that homeschoolers are not pressured or bullied the way you might find in public schools, but it doesn't occur as often as you do find in public schools. Lastly, it can lead to a more confident sense of self, as they're fed nourishment and the sense of mental health in a way that you don't find that often in public school settings. Finally, I would like to talk about what homeschooling has meant to me personally. I was homeschooled from pre-K through my senior year of high school. It has meant a lot to me personally, and it has had a major impact on my life. I learned not only how to absorb information, but also how to be self-taught. This has helped me greatly in my online classes here at Georgetown Technical College. where there is no one-on-one, student to teacher interaction. I can absorb the information myself and take the test or do whatever I have to do on my online classes. The education I received was so good, in fact, that, as you see here, from my tassel it says 2013. This might not seem significant at all, but it should say 2014. So due to my homeschool education, I was actually able to skip an entire grade and graduate a whole year early. And due to that, I'm getting my associates in 2 months rather than a whole year. Lastly, the education I received has greatly propelled me through college. And as you can see here, this is from the summer term of 2014 at Georgetown Technical College. It is the president's list for this college. I've made it not once, but all 4 semesters that I've attended here at Georgetown Technical College, and I contribute that greatly to my education through homeschooling. Homeschooling might not be for everybody, and I know I've made a great argument about how good homeschooling can be. And for those who it is for and who benefit from this form of education, it is a tremendous blessing, as I have seen it in my family and other families around me. It has been, like I said, it's just been the best kind of education that I have personally experienced, and I challenge you to look into it for maybe your family.